Well, Julie, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, before we get into your good work, there's so much that's going on with you between coaching and Reiki and everything that you're doing. I want to know 5 years ago, we were about a month into this pandemic, which threw everything into different directions, scattered everything. How much of living through that time period has influenced the way that you do work and live your life today?
Honestly, that was such a wonderful transition for me.
Yeah,
I had just transitioned out of a big corporate career, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I just knew I couldn't do that anymore. It wasn't serving me. And about that time, well, right before the pandemic, I had gone to India to do some chanting and figuring life out.
yeah.
And I came back right when they started shutting down borders. I mean, I barely got back. And so for me, the pandemic, I don't want to sound heartless, but it really was a wonderful time to slow down. And my husband travels a lot for his career. It was the first time in our marriage where we spent, all that time together.
Yeah.
So, the pandemic really was good for me. I took the time to write the first book, The Manifestor's Playbook,
Yeah.
and really did a lot of meditating and a lot of freeform writing and learned to slow down quite a bit.
I think that was kind of the general takeaway. I have every time I ask this question, overwhelmingly over 95% of the people, there's almost like buyer's remorse. Like I don't want to sound like I'm not cognizant of what was going on at the time, but I think
Right.
a lot of people needed that moment to recalibrate. I sometimes feel like we're all kind of biblically speaking like left behind, like there was a rapture that happened at that point in our
Yeah.
existence, right? Like
Hmm.
whether it physically was a rapture or emotionally was a rapture, because there was people that literally sank and there's literally people that got lifted up, you know.
Yeah. It is a real surreal time. And I really didn't miss that the whole entire world shut down at once. I mean, you just think about the power of that.
Yeah.
Everything, what really hit me is I spent 30 something years in this corporate career and worked my butt off and found no joy in it. I was successful. I mean,
Yeah.
successful.
Sure.
And then everything shut down and we all were okay. Well, I mean, that we were
Yeah.
okay in the meaning that what we did, all those things I did in the corporate world weren't necessarily helping anybody, but the guy making money at the top. And what was the point,
That's the thing about corporate world. I worked in corporate America in my 20s, and I'm at a point now where my wife is like, "Will you watch The Office with me?" And I'm like, "I'm out. It's not funny.
Me too.
I'm not doing it."
That's how I feel.
And I've tried a couple of times, and she's laughing, and
Uh,
I'm like, that's way too hits home." So, but that's the thing about the two
uh,
most glaring, ugly things about corporate America. And maybe I got it from the first corporate job I had, which I really liked. And I was trying to find my way, and I was doing desktop publishing for a home health consulting firm, is that I was let go. And I was downsized. But the way they framed it, when they do downsizing, they try to water it down. But there's a
yeah.
reality behind what downsizing really is. So I think that got my real first taste, and I just realized that at the end of the day, when you walk away from that job, you have you have your experience, but you leave it all behind. You put all of yourself into something, you sacrifice all this time you could be doing something that you want to do, and you walk away, but you also realize, and I don't want to sound real negative about it, but everyone in that organization is replaceable.
That's right. And that's what I really learned with this last departure was, I felt really responsible for keeping things together. I was overly responsible for the people that worked for me and I left and everybody's doing great. So,
What I'm saying, I
yeah.
mean, it's like
Yeah.
I look at, I'm a sports fan. I'll look at baseball teams, and it's like
Mhm.
they're gone. No one talks about them. It's like nothing happened. Everybody's just, that's where we're at. But I think when you're doing your own thing, especially with what you're doing, at the end of the day, you're in control. No matter what you do, your imprint is on this. There's a
Yeah.
legacy that you're leaving behind, and it's all you. It's not some company masthead, it's not some anonymous blob that you've decided to spend all your time into. It's you, it's your life, it's your name, it's what you're doing.
It's so true. And that's why it took me so long to figure out exactly where I wanted to land. I was running on adrenaline for, 20 years. I just did it, did it, did it. I was one of those people that people say, how'd you do it? How'd you do all that? You just do it. And it took a long time to calm my nervous system down after all that and to really get back
Yeah,
to who I am, to love and validate myself again without some corporate career.
yeah,
And that that was a gift for me in that time. And I luckily for me, I had the time and space to really meditate and feel into what I wanted for my life.
yeah,
And to be honest with you, I let the pendulum swing way over to the other side where I didn't want to make any commitments for a long time, not
right,
even lunch with a
sure.
girlfriend. Kind
Uh-huh.
of like you wanting to go to the office. It's like I couldn't stomach a commitment for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm back in the center and doing what I love and hoping I can help people do what they love.
I remember the last time I was in corporate America, it was high corporate. It was an architectural engineering firm. And I walked outside after I was let go. There was something going on at the time. And it was just a part of corporate culture. And I remember calling a friend of mine, and I'll never forget. He said, because I was still just kind of stunned, and he was like, "This is the first day of the rest of your life,"
Hmm.
and he was just so happy that it was
Yeah.
happening. At that point, I wasn't as much because you got bills and realities. But at the end of the day, it's like when you have that door open and you can go out into the world and see what you need to, who you are and what you want. It's freedom, and you can't put a price tag on that.
No, and I really believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
It might not feel like it at the moment, so maybe your friend could have waited a day or two to tell you that, but
Right. Yeah. But it worked
but
then. It was good. I chewed on it pretty well then.
yeah.
So,
I I call myself a spiritual realist because I am ethereal. I believe in the universe and I believe in connection. I believe what we put out, we get. But I also understand that we've got mortgages and rent
yeah.
and dental and we have all the things in this reality we have to take care of. So I'm very cognizant of both. I'm grounded and pretty ethereal.
So let's get into exactly what you do right now in 2025. And to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of fifth graders at career day. And a kid in the room wants to know what you do for a living. How do you answer them?
The first thing I do is probably ask a question. I'd ask them what their hope, what their dreams are at the moment. And then I would tell them that I remind grown-ups of their dreams
Yeah.
and I help them live the best life they can live.
So what did you want to be in the fifth grade? What was your dream as a kid to grow up and become?
It's funny. When I was in fifth grade, I was really just in survivor mode.
Yeah.
I had kind of a rocky childhood. Um, and I wasn't taught to dream. I was taught to do.
Yeah.
Here's your task list, do it. And if you don't do it, you're going to get in trouble. So it was just a different reality for me. I learned to dream later.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, what was it about living through those early years and even going through corporate that allowed you to find yourself and what your real purpose was and what you wanted to do to help people? What were those foundational seeds over your life that were planted and evolved to become who you are, to find this happiness and this purpose?
Well, even as a little tiny person, I knew there was more to life. I just knew. And I had a really strong intuition as a little girl. And one thing I did had was really great grandparents. I had a grandfather who's hands down one of my favorite people ever. And he loved the earth. We had a family farm. He was an accountant, um, and he was a 4-H guy, and he taught me life on the farm. He showed me, I remember being a really little girl, we had chickens and we had the incubator, and I always had to go see what was hatching. That was my thing. And my grandma, God bless her, because her house was spotless, would let me bring little chicks up for the day and play with them. Anyway, I'd go to the incubator and the eggs that didn't hatch, they just threw out. And I was heartbroken, like heartbroken. And Grandpa, can't we just crack the eggs for him? And he said, honey, we can't because they wouldn't survive. It would be mean. They're not meant for this world.
Yeah,
And it sounds harsh, but it's kind of like these life lessons we learn. We learn them when we're ready for them. You can't crack somebody open.
yeah,
You can give them the tools they need to break their shell, but you're not gonna, if you crack them open, they're not gonna survive that.
yeah,
So I learned so many lessons from him like that. Just I must have been 5, and that stuck with me all my life.
yeah,
And he always led by example. He never preached or scolded.
yeah.
He showed. And that was the most impactful thing you could do. He was always there for me, always.
That's the thing about being an adult. If you really, really want to like crack open that shell of what it all means, it's the wisdom of being actually who you are. There's so many people that say things, so much noise, so many
So much
words.
noise. Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
I know. And that's part of, when I wrote these books, and I'm writing the third one now, I'm so shy on Instagram and because there's so much noise
yep,
and so many words and it's a lot. You can just be inundated with it. And the truth is someone can guide you, light the way, but you've got to do the work yourself.
yeah,
No one can crack your shell. Someone can help you and give you tools and be supportive and your cheerleader, but the hard work is yours to do. And spiritual work is the hardest work there is.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I was just thinking, speaking of noise, I realize why the older generations always wanted to watch the old black and whites because it was just a different time. And it's like
Yeah.
the longer human beings march down this timeline, the louder things get, the more things. Like right now, you literally can watch and get yourself into anything ever. But being a child of the 80s, there was a level of restriction. Like I feel now when I watch an 80s movie, there was a level of it that's just was very innocent. That time period, there was so many things, so many less fences. Like I think about the poet Charles Bukowski, who says we're born geniuses and buried idiots. As we continue to go along in life,
Yeah.
we put up all these fences and restrictions, and we don't soar and dream and all of these things, and it's unfortunate. But anyway, just thinking about previous times, aside from politics and all the things that were going on, just the level of life. And we used to like have to remember how to get to a house instead of having GPS. We
Yeah.
didn't have texting. We didn't have
Mhm.
phones on us all the time if something went south. We just had to figure it out, navigate, and be human beings.
I I'm so grateful that I was born in the time I was born in.
Yeah.
And I really tried with my boys to make sure that they had playtime and as anti-video game and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is the world creeps in, and the kids, I sound like my grandma, the kids today,
Uh-huh.
the the kids today they're just brought up different.
Yeah.
They don't have the same, they have a different set of skills for sure, but they don't have the same set of skills
Yeah.
and problem solving
Yeah.
and wonder, you know, getting, trying to get home from a friend's house when the street lights are coming
Uh-huh.
on, you're going to get in trouble because you're
Uh-huh.
late. And,
Uh-huh.
like all the things we got to figure out and do, and it was just a good time.
Absolutely, it was. So let me ask you this. With this new epiphany that you had in life, getting out of corporate America and finding your element, what was the moment that you knew it was right? Was it a client? Was it what revelation did you have that convinced you that you were doing the right thing? This was your path.
Well, it wasn't just one thing. I knew for a long time I wasn't meant to be doing it. I actually made myself very physically ill. Um, but I have this over responsible behavior. and it's really comes down to trying to control something.
Yeah.
And I knew that once I pulled out, things wouldn't ever be the same in relationships. And I went to therapy for, I don't know, 2 years to try to leave this job. It was really hard for me. And finally, I realized it's my life. I get to live it. And I was living it for somebody else. I was fitting in somebody else's box of what they expected of me, what my what the stories were told about me. Oh, she's an implementer, she's a change, like all the things people felt I was. And really, I'm an empath. You know, I'm a person that wants to help people. Um, I'm quiet. I'm an introvert. Um, just all the things that I couldn't be in those roles. I had to be this whole other thing. And it was this whole other thing. It was this whole other story told about me from when I was a very young girl.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, when I started writing this first book, I it was like, well, I'm not the writer. My sister's the writer.
Yeah.
She got the title of the writer.
Yeah.
And I got the title of, honestly, the hard ass, like the striker, the person that get things done.
Yeah.
And so it was a big shift in personnel. Like, oh my gosh, I really had a big persona going that wasn't at all the truth.
Right.
And it did create all this disease in my body. I mean, that's why I then became a certified health coach so I could fix my own body.
Sure. Sure.
Mhm.
So let me ask you this. How do you find the balance with all of these things? I mean, you're helping people, which can be heavy stuff. You have your own soul. There's a lot of things that go into what you're doing and what you need to do. How do you balance that? What gets you up every day to motivates you to do this well?
I love helping people.
Yeah.
It My passion is helping people figure out what they love and loving themselves a little more every day. It's in this world with all the influencers and all the news and Ozempic, all the things, it's harder than ever to look in the mirror and love what you see, look in your heart and love what you feel.
Yeah.
And I know because I went on that journey. And so I love helping people figure that out and discover that you can see the light start to shine
Yeah.
back, and then when people start to manifest something they really wanted, that's, I mean, it gives me so much pleasure to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I do it. And frankly, I do get up and meditate in the morning and I do some free form writing and I love it. It's like my time. It took me a while to really love it when I first started, but man, I'm a little grumpy if I don't get to do it every morning. I love it so much.
So as a writer, who's your favorite writer? Who is a an author or a book that you read early on that really hooked you?
Oh, I mean, all the Carolyn Miss, that was probably one of the first spiritual books that I read that resonated like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
Ram Dass,
Yeah.
um, Louise Hay. I I love them all. Now for the fun stuff, you can put me anywhere. I mean, if I have a bad time over something, I'll start reading Harry Potter all over again,
Yeah. I hear people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am very eclectic reader. I love to read. I love sci-fi. I just love to read. But the books that really shape my life are more in the old school spiritual realm.
Have you read Miranda July?
No.
She's the funniest human ever.
Oh, I'm gonna write
Yeah.
that down.
She just had a book that came out that's won all kinds of awards. It's like a huge,
Okay.
huge book. Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, pencil her in. She's just kind of a quirky indie kind of mind that just spits out all this stuff. And I listen to audiobooks and sometimes I have to stop because it's like I got to catch up. It's kind of like,
Really?
yeah, it's a little bit like reading Billy Collins. Like it's so dense and
Uh,
deep, you have to take a minute and really process. because it's like there's so many dimensions that are going on. It's like building a skyscraper in a day. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
how did this happen? It's crazy. You
Yeah.
know,
People that can write like that are just, it's phenomenal.
it's amazing. It really
Yeah,
is.
really is.
So, if I was to put you in a room of all of the people that you've helped and coached this whole time that have known you in a corporate sense, a business sense, and you could go into that room and go to a podium and tell them one fun story, one fun thing about you, something that would humanize you in a different way. First concert, something like that. What would you tell that room?
Oh gosh. I'm I'm a pretty complex person and there's been so many versions of me, like really. I mean, there was a version of me in my 20s where my hair was like this big and like a lion's mane,
Yeah,
the makeup, everything.
yeah,
Um, but I think the story that probably shocks most people is when I was a teenager, I was very rebellious. I was unhappy. I told you my childhood
yeah.
wasn't all that. And I decided at 15 I was going to run away to Mexico.
Okay.
And I just found this shopping list in like a storage bin. It was hilarious. It said, things I need, things I'll steal. So I don't know where I was going to steal them from. It was like deodorant. Uh,
Yeah,
I had a very serious detailed list of all the things I needed
yeah,
and the cash I needed and how I was going to get it. Like, I'm going to tell dad I need, like I
yeah.
had like this whole plan. My mom left with her boyfriend for some trip, and I then committed grand theft auto. I stole the car, didn't know how to drive it. It was
Wow.
stick shift, and picked up my friend. I don't know how I did it. And by the time we got to like this other friend's house, I found out my mom had to come home early,
Oh, wow.
and they had the police looking for me. It's back in the day where it was a big deal,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to drive and I was driving a stick. So there's lots of police officers looking for me and it's a whole fiasco. And that changed
Wow.
my life too because I had was living with my mom and I decided I can't go back there.
Yeah,
And so I called my dad and we weren't really close, but I knew he would respond to this and I just said, "Hey, if you ever want to see me again, you're going to come pick me up and I'm going to live with you."
yeah.
And he did. And so that changed my life too.
That's an amazing story. So,
No, people don't believe it. They're like, no way, there's no way you did that. Well, yeah, I did
yeah,
that.
yeah. So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've done and evolved into at this point, what are you the proudest of?
You know what? I'm the proudest of just being able to live in my body and love it. It- I'm so comfortable with who I am, and that's not a small thing in
Yeah,
today's world. I've been able to forgive past versions of me that maybe didn't live up to my expectations. And I just, I am in a place in life now where I look forward to the triggers so I can learn more about myself. Like it's like I get excited when I get upset because oh my gosh, that's another thing I can figure out.
yeah,
And I think that's what I'm most proud of. It's a really fun place to be, knowing you're responsible for your outcome.
yeah, yeah,
What's happening in my life is purely on my back.
yeah.
So I think that's what I'm most proud of.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, I think I'm resilient. I think I'm kind. I think I have a diverse and vast history that I would like to share and help people with. Um, I think I meant my purpose in life. And this is one of the things I said I wasn't going to do is say think. That's my new thing. So let's take that out. I know I'm meant to share and help people in life. And that's that's who I am. I'm an open book. I just told a friend yesterday I'm finally in style. because my whole life I've been a truth teller. There's just, if you ask me a question, I'll tell you the answer. And so I always warn people, do you want to know? Because I'm going to tell you what I think is the truth. Might not be the truth, but it's what
Right.
I think is the truth. And that just wasn't in style. I was too harsh, too candid for people.
Yeah.
And now everybody wants it.
Yep.
Everybody wants
Yep.
it. So literally, I I'm also just I've always been a little dorky on myself, and I've always loved that about me. I didn't ever conform to somebody else's sense of style or whatever. I'm just kind of dorky. And that's a style.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
so I'm winning.
Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. So if anyone wants to reach out, hire you, have any questions, they want to get your books, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do it is on my website. It's hellojulieheaton.com.
Okay.
There you can reach out to me, ask me any questions, buy any of my books, sign up for coaching, whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. Excellent.
Hmm.
Well, I will have all of that in the show notes and shuttle them that way. Julie, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I appreciate you so much. This was a wonderful, wonderful time for
It
me.
was great. I appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah.
Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.